First of all, I want to welcome everyone back to campus, back to Ohio State University. It's been a while since you guys have been here, but most importantly, I want to thank you guys all for attending this very important event to celebrate Ohio State's selection into the college football playoffs, and more specifically, the semifinals at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. We're honored today to have with us Gary Stokan, the president and CEO of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. We also have David Epps, the chief operating officer, who's in the back there, and also a guy that you guys will get to know really, really well, Matt Garvey, who's the vice president of communications.
All of you guys in the media hospitality suite.
Obviously, and we also have Gene Smith and Coach Day with us today. Today we're going to open up with messages from Gary and the formal invitation of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl to Ohio State University. Then we'll have some comments from Gene and Coach Day. We'll follow that up with a 3-minute video about the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl experience that our players are gonna be a part of. Then we'll have a brief Q&A session, and then we'll get the 5 gentlemen up here for a photo op, and that'll conclude this portion of today's press conference. Afterwards, we'll keep Coach Day here for another 20 minutes or so, and you guys can ask him some questions about the game. So with that, I'd like to introduce Gary Stokan, President and CEO of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Jerry's got that Chick-fil-A down, doesn't he? You can tell he's ready to eat some Chick-fil-A. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it. I've talked to some of you over the last, I guess, month, and look forward to personally meeting you. And anything we can do to help over the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, please let us know. And we mean that seriously. We're not just saying that. We believe in Southern hospitality, and we want to make sure that you guys have what you need to do your jobs. We're all partners in this. We're all part of the family now. So anything we can do to help you, let us know. I want to start first to congratulate Gene Smith and Coach Day, the staff, the team, the Buckeye administration for a very successful season. To be in the CFP playoffs and finish number 4 in the country is a remarkable achievement. Also want to special mention to the 5 All-Americans on Ohio State. A great accomplishment they had this year. We're really excited about this. We've had to add 2,000 seats, standing room only. We will probably break the Super Bowl and our record in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We got the tickets to Ohio State on Monday, and they sold out Wednesday, which may be a record for us of any of our 9 years being in the CFP. So congratulations there. Obviously, this is the first trip for Ohio State in our 55 years to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And Gene and I talked at the Wisconsin game, hoping this would be the case, and Gene prognosticated correctly. So we're glad to host Ohio State for the first time in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. You know, a lot of people have ranked this bowl as the number 1 bowl in the country this year with the great matchup we have with number 1 and number 4. Game day coming to Atlanta, obviously the 8 o'clock time slot, and so we're excited about that. Tell you a little bit about the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Obviously, we're December 31st, 8 o'clock, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which I think is the best stadium in the country. Great sight lines, great fan experience, and I think you guys will really enjoy Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We'll be hosting not only the CFP semifinal this year, but we'll host again in 2025 the semifinal, and in January of 25 we'll host the national championship of the CFP again in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Reason a lot of people call us the capital of college football in Atlanta, with having the great matchups that we have, as well as having the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, which you guys should mark down that December 29th in the College Football Hall of Fame we'll have our media day for the teams, which will be a great experience for you guys to see the Hall of Fame itself and then do some work in there as well. We'll also host you December 30th at a media party, which Matt will pay for out of his own pocket. So don't expect too much there for that. We are known as one of the most competitive bowl games in the country. 53% of our games have been decided by a touchdown or less. We've had some great matchups. We've sold out 22 of the last 24 Chick-fil-A Peach Bowls, and this will be another one. As I mentioned, we've added 2,000 standing room only, and will probably be somewhere 78, 79,000 for this game. The other thing I'll mention is that we'll pay the team $6 million each, $2 million for travel, $4 million for the game itself, and $2 million for their travel expenses. A little bit about us. We are known as the most charitable bowl organization in the country. We were started, unlike other bowl games, in 1968 as a bowl for charity, and we've kept that in our mission. We've given $60.9 million back to charities since 2002, which is a record by far over every other bowl game in the country, and that's important to us. I'm proud to announce that today that we're going to give $100,000 to Ohio State to endow a scholarship, $50,000 from the Peach Bowl and $50,000 from Chick-fil-A. It'll be part of our $8.7 million at 34 universities throughout the country that we've already endowed scholarships. Ohio State will be that 34th university, and we're proud to do that, happy to do that. And it's part of our John Lewis Legacy of Courage Scholarship Program, where kids from Title I schools in Atlanta or Georgia, if they apply to, in this case, Ohio State, they would get the opportunity to get that endowed scholarship money. Just this year, we gave over $293,000 out to 16 students around the country in that endowed scholarship program. I'll talk a little bit about our Bowl Week experience after we show the video, but before I do that, I want to do something official, I guess, and I hope he accepts, but I want to officially invite Gene Smith and the Ohio State Buckeyes to the 55th Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl CFP semifinal game at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So I hope you'll accept this, Gene.
Oh, God, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Gary.
you.
Appreciate it.
Look
Thank
forward
you
to
so
hosting
much.
you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Gene.
These guys are excited.
I'll let you
I can
take
tell
over
that.
now.
Well, thank you, Gary. Thank you. I'll be brief. First of all, thank you, and thank David and Matt for being here. We really appreciate you coming to Columbus and sharing this and offering the formal invitation. But let me also thank you for the charitable work that you do through your bowl, the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Peach Bowl has always been known for its great charity and its impact on young people in this community. So thank you so much. We're excited about the opportunity. Just as you and I talked, Gary, earlier in the year, it's a place that we haven't been, and a place we wanted to go, a place that we felt our fans could get to pretty easily on the East Coast in particular, and then that's playing out exceptionally well, which is why you had to add 2,000 seats. But we're excited about it, and our players are excited about it, and we're looking forward to have the opportunity to be in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We have not competed in that stadium, so it's going to be a great experience for all of us, including our media friends, and so we're excited to see that. Thank you so much. Look forward to the opportunity to spend more time with you. I'm going to turn it over to Coach Day, and he can chat a little bit about the excitement that we have.
Thanks, Gene. Gary, Dave, Matt, thank you very much. It's an honor to be invited to go to the Peach Bowl, and our team is extremely excited about the opportunity, as you can imagine. We've heard such wonderful things about the Peach Bowl over the years, and really looking forward to going down there and spending a great week in Atlanta. Atlanta has been a wonderful place for us in recruiting. We have such great Buckeye fans in that area, and I know there's so much excitement for us to get down in there. And can't even imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like at 8 o'clock when the foot hits the ball against the Bulldogs. So again, our guys are working hard. I can promise you that. We're finishing up finals. We've already had really a couple good weeks of work. And then as we head into Christmas here and then make our trip down to Atlanta, our guys are going to be really excited to get down there and spend a week with everybody, and certainly with the events and everything that comes with it. So would you say 55 years? First time Ohio State will be in the Peach Bowl. So honored to be a part of this and looking forward to a great week. So thank you.
Thank you, Coach. All right, we're going to go ahead, Gary.
You want to do the video?
Yeah, let's show the
Let's
video.
do the video.
Congratulations on an incredible season and welcome to the College Football Playoff Semifinals, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Peach Bowl is a reward for your semifinal appearance and a golden opportunity that has you one win away from playing for a national championship. Our bowl week is designed with you in mind. It's meant to create memorable experiences and give you a chance to live, laugh, and learn while in Atlanta. This year, the road to the national championship comes through the ATL, and you got a lot to look forward to. Your bowl week experience starts with a traditional Christmas meal at your team hotel. After dinner, you receive some incredible gifts and enjoy the holiday. At the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, we are all about competition. So to kick things off, we'll have a little fun with our Battle for Bowl Week. The Battle for Bowl Week will pit players from each team against each other in a series of competitions at several of the Bowl Week events. Daily battles will all lead to one team taking home the coveted battle for Bowl Week championship belt. The first Battle for Bowl Week event starts with an experience you can only have in Atlanta. A private visit to the College Football Hall of Fame where you get a great meal and enjoy a tour of the facility, taking in all the interactive elements that dive deep into the heritage and tradition of college football. At the hall, you'll have your first two competitions, which include our famous Football Feud game show and the second contest, Drop It Like It's Hot. On day 2, one of the more meaningful activities during Bowl Week will include a visit to a local children's hospital, where just a few moments of your shared time will brighten the lives of some of your biggest fans. That night, you'll take a very special trip to the Martin Luther King Jr. Historical Site, where you experience the origins of the Civil Rights Movement and engage in conversation about teamwork, the student-athlete's role in activism, and life after football. Now back at your hotel, you hit the court for our basketball challenge competition, where a smooth shooting stroke could win you the belt. The final event of the week includes the last 2 competitions in the Battle for Bowl Week. You'll take a trip to Andretti's indoor karting and games for a bowling competition and some full-throttle go-karting where both teams will push it to the limit. And as we wrap up this week, we'll crown this year's Battle for Bowl Week champion. And we certainly won't leave out the hospitality. When you're not taking part in our planned Bowl Week activities, you can relax and hang out in the exclusive Players Hospitality Suite created just for you. And we didn't forget why you're really here. But before you head into Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you'll take part in one more Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl tradition. We're going to recreate your own campus team walkthrough with your fans, complete with a full-blown pep rally. Then it's down to business. You hit the field in an NFL stadium against a top-4 opponent in a national semifinal game with a trip to the national championship on the line.
All right, so we got a great week planned for all the players, and we said this is a reward for the players. They're the ones that work their butts off in the winter, spring, then camp in the summer, and then play the season. So we've always made that our mantra to make sure this is a reward for the players. There's a couple things just to talk about the game and then about our Live, Laugh, and Learn theme. One is styles make fights, and to have the number 2 scoring offense and number 13 scoring defense play against the number 2 scoring defense and the number 11 scoring offense makes for a great fight. This is going to be a true war and a battle and a lot of fireworks in New Year's Eve in Atlanta. The second thing I'd like to say is, you know, the interesting thing that's happened in the CFP, we've seen it. In 2017, we had Alabama open against Florida State in our Chick-fil-A kickoff game. Number 1 against number 3, Alabama wins the game, does not win the SEC, didn't win their conference, but got into the playoff because they played a tough non-conference schedule, and they won the national championship that year. Fast forward to 2021, and Georgia opens with Clemson, top 5 team in the country, beats Clemson, goes on, does not win the SEC, wins the national championship that year. So there's a path, there's a road that this has been done before, and Ohio State has that opportunity. So it's a great chance for Ohio State to get healthy, Ohio State to get the opportunity to play in a big-time game and a big-time win to go on to play in a bigger game in the national championship game. So just a little history there. Lastly, talking about our Bull Week, you know, we talked about Live, Laugh, and Learn. it's important to us for the kids as a reward for the players to live. We want them to stay in a great hotel, get great gifts, eat great food like Chick-fil-A, and then we want them to laugh. So our Battle for Bowl Week, all kids want to do during the week is compete. It doesn't matter what it is. They want to compete against each other, and we put them against the other team. So we have our Battle for Bowl Week, and every night we'll give that belt out, and then when you have to give it back the next day, and then we have another competition, you win the belt again, and then at the end of the week we give the belt to whoever cumulative is the winner. And the last thing I guess I want to talk about is learn. We're in college education here, and so we want these kids to learn how to give back during that time of the year, which is tough for kids in children's health care. We've recently donated $20 million to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta to find cures and trials to eradicate childhood cancer. We have 7 trials now with 12 kids in those trials, hopefully finding a cure or something that will give a kid another day, another year, or hopefully the rest of his life to live. And we're using football to make all these things happen. So we want the kids, I call them kids, the student athletes, to understand that. And so we'll take them into Children's Healthcare where those kids over Christmas, they didn't get out of the hospital, and they're never going to get out of the hospital. So for the coaches and for the student athletes to give back during that time to the families, to the kids is awfully important. It's a great learning experience to give back during the holidays, obviously. And then lastly, we do something that you're not supposed to do in bowl games. You're not supposed to put both teams together. What we do is take both teams together, seat them next to each other in the pews of Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Dr. King was the pastor and actually spoke from the pulpit. And his mother was shot and killed in Ebenezer Baptist Church. And we put both teams together, and we're blessed that we're going to have Ambassador Andy Young, who was one of the top 8 people with Dr. King during the Civil Rights Movement, and Bill Curry, who played for Vince Lombardi, played for Don Shula, and has a book out. If you're a book reader, it's a great read, 10 Men in a Huddle. And it talks about how a kid from Compton, a black kid from L.A., and a white kid from the hills of North Carolina, and a Jew, and a Christian, and a Catholic, can all be in that huddle together. And none of that stuff matters. They're a team. It's about togetherness. It's about unity. It's about teamwork. And so we're going to have a history lesson, basically a living history lesson, because these kids weren't around when Dr. King and Andy Young went through some of the things they went through. And so it's an actual history lesson that they'll learn from Ambassador Young and Bill Curry talking about some subject matters, and then it'll basically be an interaction between the players as well. So that's part of our learn process. And then we'll kick off our game. So it'll be a great week. We welcome you all to Atlanta. And let me turn it over to Jerry again.
Well, I'll tell you real quick, if anybody, we'll make Gary available after Coach Day is done, if there's any one-on-ones you guys want. But if anybody has any quick questions for Gary before we move on, we can take those now.
Yes, sir.
Brendan Gulick with Sports Illustrated Media Group, Buckeyes Now. Just want to ask about the scholarship. Is that for an Ohio State student athlete? Is it for the football team specifically? How does that work?
Yeah, we'll endow the scholarship with the Ohio State University, and it will be for regular students that are from Atlanta, Title I. And Title I is kids that are, underprivileged, that a lot of these kids that we saw this year and in the past, they've had no one in their family has ever gone to college. And so to give these kids, and we're throwing off some money like Clemson's like $25,000 a year. It's meaningful money to these kids to be able to get their education. So that'll be for the Ohio State, the general population of students that come to Ohio State from Atlanta Title I high schools or Georgia high schools. Does that answer your question? Yep.
You mentioned
Yes, sir.
the Ohio State tickets sold out so quickly. What's the allotment? What's the breakdown of how the tickets
Yeah,
are
sure.
distributed?
Good question. 13,000 tickets go to Ohio State and to Georgia. 500 of those are for the band, and so 12,500 is the allotment for each team. We sold out in July of this year. We have great fans in Atlanta, so obviously the secondary market is active. But having seen in my 25 years running the bowl, Ohio State fans, the way they travel, and knowing the large contingent that's in Georgia and Atlanta of Ohio State and the Southeast, I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of Buckeyes in that stadium and around the stadium as well.
Tony?
Yes, sir.
If you could just clarify what you said at the beginning about the addition of seats, how many seats you're adding, and then you mentioned it might eclipse maybe.
Yeah, we had, Matt will correct me, I know, we had like 78,000 for the LSU-Oklahoma game the last time we had number 1, number 4 in our CFP semifinal in 2019. The way Mercedes-Benz is structured, it's built so they have expandable seats in both sidelines and one of the end zones. And you use those seats for Super Bowls, Final Fours, big games like ours. So we've taken those expandable seats, added those, and we've added another 2,000 standing room only above that.
What will that put you at?
We'll be right at, 78,000. And the way tickets are going, believe me, I've let a list as long as my arm know that I don't have any tickets. So I'm a bad guy right now. But as you know, in tickets you can't win. But it's a good problem to have, obviously. So it's going to be a great crowd, a record crowd, and I think a super game with the two teams that we have.
Tony?
Yes, sir.
I know this might be an easy answer to this, but why don't you think there are major? Why isn't there a major bowl game in the North or in the Midwest?
That's an interesting question. I had never thought about that. I used to run the Atlanta Sports Council as well as the Peach Bowl, and I don't see any reason why there can't be. With some of the facilities you have, and I'm thinking indoor now because we're indoor in Minnesota and Indianapolis, Detroit. I know the guys that run those sports councils, and they do a great job, and they're getting Final Four. So I think it's just a matter of somebody wanting to do it, really, someone committing to do it and making it happen.
How much work is that? You've done it.
Well, it's not work to me. I mean, I'm blessed. I've been in sports 44 years, so I've been blessed not to work a day in my life. And I like challenges, so it wouldn't be work to me. It'd be a great challenge and great opportunity, I think, more than anything else. Because what you have in the Big Ten and what you're going to now gain with USC and UCLA potentially, and let alone all the schools that you have in the Northeast and even in the South. I mean, there's no reason why there shouldn't be a big game in the Midwest. Is that it? I know you want to get to Coach Day. He's more important than I am.
Let's do a quick photo op with Gene and Coach, and then Coach, we'll turn it over to you.
Gary, why don't you stay right in the middle there, and
You want to just do it
Gene on either
in front of this and give Gene this? Is my head blinding you? That's a problem. I apologize for that.
TVs, are you guys good? All right, if you got any stills, if the stills can move to the middle. David, I guess that's you. Yeah, Coach,
He's liable to hit somebody who puts that thing on.
Oh, it's got a little thing in here. I can't really.
Coach, that's yours to keep. That's for your office. We're leaving that behind for you.
Thank you very much.
Great job. All right, so we've got about 20 minutes with Coach Day. We'll open it up second row middle. Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Ryan, obviously our first chance to talk to you since Kevin's decision to go to Tulsa. So most directly, how does that affect the staff preparation for the bowl? And then what are you thinking as the next step for you as far as replacing that position?
Yeah, so we'll kind of cross that bridge after the season. We're going to just focus on right now. But Kevin, we sat down and talked about this. We knew it was a possibility. Is that he's going to continue to coach throughout the bowl game. He's been doing a great job of that. He's got to working 24 hours a day right now, but he's keeping certainly Ohio State and our path to the national championship first and foremost in his mind, and then he's obviously got a lot going on planning ahead at Tulsa. But he's been at practices. He's going to be here again this weekend, and so it's a challenge when you have to kind of juggle both things. But he's going to make sure that he does everything he can to help us win this.
It's kind of widely out there that Keenan would be the guy that you're looking to replace that. What can you say about him and just how he fits into what you're doing now, I guess, heading into the bowl game?
Yeah, we're not going to do anything formal till after the season, but I can say this, that Keenan Bailey is just he's an excellent coach. He's a really sharp young man who's going to do unbelievable things in his career, and the relationships he's built over time with former players, current players, recruits, and family has been excellent. And Keenan's turned down a lot of opportunities to go other places over the last couple of years, and he's stayed here and been a huge help. So he's got a very bright future ahead of him.
Fourth row left, Jacob Benj, the Lantern.
Yeah, hey Ryan, we talked with you last week, and you mentioned how just with your team now in the CFP, it's like a second chance on the season. And I'm curious now with a week for it to set in and to be around the team, just how much more real has that realization become in your preparation to play Georgia?
Yeah, inside of 3 weeks now. We talked about it going into that final weekend, and then coming out of it, just a refocus. And I think our practices have been spirited so far. I think the guys have really had good urgency about them. I think they have a good feel for what this is going to be like, and just the electricity and how important every play is going to be into this game. So we're still in the fundamental phase. We're going to start making the transition into game planning here soon. And then we get down to bowl week. So we have 3 phases when we talk about bowl practice. But the energy's been really, really good, and guys are finishing up finals now, and now it's just going to be all football.
Far left, Jared Smalley, WCMH.
All right, Ryan, now that you've had time to evaluate, I know you haven't had a lot of time, but you've had time to evaluate Georgia. You look at them offensively, and it's an interesting group, right? Because it's not a group that's loaded with superstars at receiver and a superstar running back, but they have extraordinary depth at tight end, and they have as veteran a quarterback as you can have in the college game. I'm just wondering how you evaluate them offensively and their unique nature as an offense.
Yeah, I think they do a great job of playing off the defense and special teams. All three are, put together really well. But specifically on offense, I think, Bennett kind of is the one that gets it all going. And certainly they have talent across the board. Their offensive line's big. Both tight ends are very, very talented. Running backs are very good. Receivers are very good. But it's the quarterback that makes it all go. And he's played unbelievable, deserved certainly an opportunity to be down in New York City on Saturday night. And what an unbelievable story of somebody that came through a lot of adversity along the way in his journey to get to where he's at. So from afar, it's been a joy to watch him compete. And so yeah, I think they do multiple things. They're creative in how they do them, and they're certainly playing good football here down the stretch.
Yeah, Coach, this hadn't come up, I don't think, either after the game or last Sunday, but Dallin Hayden, he had 2 100-yard games, and then went into the Michigan game. He really only had 2 carries. Chip Trianum, who hadn't carried the ball all season, gets the opportunity. Just in hindsight, could that situation have been different? What held Dallin back from not playing in that game, I guess?
Yeah, just kind of the flow of the game, and Tony, makes that decision based on how things are going. And I thought in the game that Chip ran well. I thought he did some really good things, especially for his first game, getting put into that environment. So, certainly looking forward to getting some health back in that room. But Dallin's going to be a big part of this bowl game.
Matthew Jones, is he looking okay to be able to go maybe?
Yeah, everybody's, for the most part, everybody's healing up. So good to get everybody back on the field.
Third row left, Dan Hope, Lebanon Warriors.
Ryan, how are you kind of balancing it right now with everything that's going on with the transfer portal and obviously recruiting early signing period next week? Like, how are you balancing kind of maybe evaluating potential additions for your team while also preparing for a bowl game?
Just don't sleep. That's it. You're not allowed to sleep. We're going to have practice today and then be on a plane for the next 2 days and come back for practice Thursday. So it's just that's December. I was laughing with somebody growing up. When you hear the month of December, you think about Christmas and holiday times and everything else. And when I think of December, I think about bowl practice. I think about recruiting. Think about home visits. Think about transfer portal. Think about all these different things. And it's with the early signing period, obviously that changed a few years ago, that everything got sped up here. But that's December in big time football, and our guys are working really, really hard, and don't get a chance to see your family very much this time of year. But that's part of it. And that's what you want to be. You want to be in the CFP this time of year. You want to be involved with great recruits. You want to have all this stuff going on, and that's exciting. So it's energizing because obviously you're relevant this time of year, and you're involved in some great recruits, and you're swinging as hard as you can. So this is exactly the way you want it, even though sometimes you wake up with not a lot of sleep.
Look at the roster construction for next year. What maybe do you look at as what you guys might need to do in the transfer portal?
We look at everything, and it's constantly changing. Trying to do the best we can. Certainly for us, I think we've done a really good job of identifying the right fit here. It's very difficult to just walk into Ohio State and our culture and just walk onto the field, because there's a lot of pride here, and guys have to earn their right to get on the field. So, certainly if there's something that we can do in terms of upgrade in a certain position, we'll always do that. That's our job. But we'll also take into consideration the right culture fit, the right fit for them, the expectation. If somebody comes into the program, they're going to have to earn their right to get on the field. We're not just going to guarantee when you come here, you're going to do this, you're going to get this many touches, or you're going to start the minute you walk into that locker room. I don't know how folks do that and then look at the players currently on their roster and say, I just guaranteed someone to come in and be a starter. And so we take all those things into consideration. But as you know, we have added guys, and I think we've done a really good job of being thoughtful in those areas. But, certainly the transfer portal has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's become like free agency, so it's something that we're going to be a part of.
Front row, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, how has NIL, which now people have gotten used to and are exploiting it,
Yep.
How has that changed recruiting, especially as we get down to the stretch? And Gene has talked about how it's the wild, wild west. And, I mean, how different is it, and how scary is it if you have commitments and maybe you don't?
It's become, I think it was never part of the conversation. Then it became part of the conversation, and it's trending towards being the conversation for a lot of folks. So, as time has gone on, it's become more and more of a priority for folks, and so, navigating those times and adapting is important.
You guys put out a statement last week encouraging people to donate. How much of an issue is it for you guys right now?
Well, it's certainly a priority for us to make sure we have everything we need to support our players, and that's kind of, well, I'll leave it right there. And we have some folks that are really helping and doing everything they can, and that's great. And so we're going to need as much help as we can moving forward. But the great news is we have great fans who want to support it, and we're going to make sure we do everything we can to make sure our guys get what's fair.
Right next door, Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, speaking of one extra thing you have to deal with, I was also going to ask about NIL. How frustrated are you, and what would you like to say maybe to the fans and businesses and just boosters, and just how frustrated are you compared to maybe some of the other schools out there and what they're doing?
Well, I just we're going to need all the help we can get, but that's kind of the way it is across the country right now. And the great news is we're positioned really, really well in Columbus and with our fan base to do just that. And our team has done very, very well here on campus and over the last year. They've done great. So we're going to keep building towards that and just make sure that everyone knows that this is real. We're here, and yeah, certainly going to need their support.
Football question: what's the mental state of the team right now? Do you feel like we got our second chance and everybody's mentally locked in?
I think the biggest thing I notice is that this time of year, usually you're taking a big exhale and you're kind of catching your breath for finals. I just feel a bit of urgency when we walk on the field. I just feel a little bit of a different look in their eye. Like when we're on the field, we're out there to work.
Front row right, Austin Ward, Rivals.
Ryan, how much hope had you actually held out that Jackson might be able to get back in time for the playoff? I know it was trending this way for a while, but
it was frustrating for him mostly. I mean, nobody was more frustrated than Jackson. Nobody wanted to play more than Jackson. I know that. But yeah, it was tough this year not having him. We had a lot of the offense kind of designed around him, and then had to adapt as time went on, and hoped we'd get him back. But it never quite got to where he was comfortable playing, and then certainly got him reevaluated there the last month, and just got determined that he wasn't going to be able to make sense for him to go back on the field. Just too much risk there, and it was hard for him. I know it was really hard for Jackson this year to sit around and watch his teammates play and his body not allow him to play. And I think in a day and age where, you're not going to go out there and give a lot of detail about what the injury is, and so many people questioning and asking for him, that wasn't easy for him either. And I think, we knew that it wasn't going to be able to play this next month. It was, kind of ruled out by the doctors, and so they made the decision. Just felt like it was time to kind of put it to bed so that he can get a little peace, because it was hard for him this season. Yeah.
I know this sounds crazy because of how good he is, but is there any part that's beneficial to you? Like, okay, this is the final decision. He's not coming back. They have a month to prepare everybody. I know you played all season without him.
Right.
But is there any part of that that's, well, we can't even have, there's no thought in your mind that Jackson's part of it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you just kind of move on from that, and you plan accordingly, which was what we've done all season. So, we were kind of moving forward without, and then if we did, it was going to be a bonus at some point during the season. But yeah, it definitely hurt not having him around for sure.
Right next door, Tim Bay, Letterman Row.
Yeah, just two quickies. Did you ever have any interaction with Mike Leach? Did you ever meet him, et cetera? And number two, you just outlined your schedule for the next, and not that necessarily a schedule contributed to what he went through at the end there, but the workload you guys all carry. But number one, that part about Mike, had you ever met him? What are your thoughts on him?
Yes, I met Coach Leach a couple times, and certainly have a tremendous amount of respect, and certainly want to really send prayers and thoughts out to his family and to all those down in Mississippi State and all the folks that he's coached with and for, and the players. It's just 61 years old. That's just it really makes you take a deep breath, like you said, and think about life in general, because life can move fast, and there's certainly a lot comes with this profession. But to lose him that young, it's a tragedy. And one thing, I guess, I didn't know him as well as others, is it looked like, he enjoyed his time. He did, and it's like he did it his way, and there's a lot to be said for that. And college football is certainly going to miss Mike Leach.
When you're sitting there Saturday night, and you're watching CJ, it was a good feeling. He probably wasn't going to win it, but he was there. You know what I mean? At the Heisman, are you proud of how far that guy has come? I mean, what are the feelings you're feeling? And then number two, people keep asking me, what's his legacy? And I go, well, it really hadn't been totally written yet, but what do you think is his legacy to this point to Ohio State football?
Well, I think when you take a step back and you just look at things in general, the fact that this will be our third CFP appearance in 4 years. CJ was our fifth Heisman Trophy finalist in 5 years. Certainly there's a lot to be proud of there. But I think he also would like to win it. And that's part of it, because he's competitive. We're all competitive. But still, that night to me is about recognizing really good players and their seasons, and that to me was about that was CJ's night to get recognized again, even though he didn't win it, because of the high level of play that he's had over the last 2 years. And so I know he's very, very excited to play in this game. He's given a lot to Ohio State, and certainly that was a great opportunity for him to be with his family and get recognized for that. But he's going to work really hard over the next 2.5 weeks to play his best football here, in the CFP.
Right behind him, Doug Lesmerises, Cleveland.com.
Just to double check, are you anticipating that Travion Henderson will practice and prepare for the Peach Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably give you an update on Trey here, probably in the next few days. I don't really have an update on where he is right now, as we kind of get off the road. So, and it's kind of like that with everybody. And I'm not sure exactly when we give an injury update, Jerry, on this. We'll have to talk about that. But as I get off the road, we'll get back to you on that one.
Like just changing the overall philosophy as far as the transfer portal. You've been very, very reluctant to dive into it unless it was a clear upgrade. And now you see players willing to move in and out of rosters just for NIL opportunities or tampering that happened with former coaches they used to know or whatever. I mean, is there a moment where you sit down and say, maybe we need to rethink it?
I mean, we rethink it all the time. If we had 10 to 12 to 15 guys entering the portal and we had to replace those guys, then certainly we would consider that. But, when we're signing 20 high school players every year and we don't have a lot of guys leaving the program, there's not a lot of room for that. But we're certainly looking at everybody and, having guys on visits and things like that. So we're always looking at it to see if it makes sense. But to say, we're just going to go recruit 15 transfer guys and bring them in just to say we're bringing in 15 transfer guys, no, we're not going to do that. But every year, maybe you take one, maybe you take 5, maybe you take 10. I don't know. We'll have to continually figure that out on a year-to-year basis. But to sit here and say, I just think we're going to go out and start recruiting a bunch of guys in the portal philosophically, it'd have to make sense for the roster, which I'm not against. It's just, only if we think it's an upgrade and the right fit.
Coach, thank you
Yep.
very much.
Thanks, guys. Yep.